We've all been there. You're standing in a museum staring at a painting and all you can think is, I don't get it. To me, knowing the story behind an artwork is a huge part of knowing how to look at it. I'm Amanda, the host of the Art of History podcast, where we view history through the lens of some really great works of art. Each episode, we dive deep into the bigger picture behind some familiar and maybe not so familiar pieces. Check out Art of History now wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome, Culture Kids! This is our first podcast ever. My name is Kristen, and I am your host, along with my 5-year-old son, Asher, and we created Culture Kids podcast to share our passion for learning about different cultures and geography. Let's jump right in today with our first episode on one of the most fascinating mountains in the world, called Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is located in a country called Japan, which is in the continent of Asia. Asher, have you heard of this country called Japan?
Yes, it's a country in Asia with lots of little islands.
That's right. Japan is located in the continent we call Asia. I've had the pleasure of visiting Japan several times when I was growing up in South Korea. It's an easy 2-hour flight from there, so my family loved to visit our relatives that lived in Japan. One of my most vivid memories of Japan is looking at the beautiful views of Mount Fuji, which can actually be seen miles and miles away from several cities. This leads me to introduce our Culture Kids word of the week, which is Fuji-san. Asher, can we try saying Fuji-san?
Fuji-san.
Can you guess what Fuji-san could mean?
Fuji-san means Mountain Fuji.
That's right. Can you guess what language that is?
It means in the Japanese.
Exactly. Fuji-san is what the Japanese call the Fuji Mountain. It is the tallest mountain in Japan and is surrounded by 5 beautiful lakes. Viewing the mountain from far away is quite a majestic sight to see, one that really takes your breath away. The Japanese consider it a sacred symbol, which means it is a very important part of the country's culture. There are lots of shrines and temples surrounding the mountain.
Mount Fuji is mounted out of 3 volcanoes stacked on top of each other, kind of like pancakes.
Sort of like pancakes. We call volcanic mountains that are stacked on top of one another a stratovolcano. Can you try saying that, Asher?
Stratovolcano.
Very good. A stratovolcano is a volcano that has multiple layers and is made from hardened lava and ash over hundreds and thousands of years. Mount Fuji is made up of 3 separate volcanoes. Komitake at the bottom, Kofuji in the middle, and Fuji at the top, which is the youngest out of the 3. The process took many, many years and eventually formed into one giant cone-shaped volcano that we call Mount Fuji. This mountain has one of the shortest climbing seasons for any mountain in the world. It starts in July and ends in September. That's just almost 3 months that people can travel to Japan to climb Mount Fuji. That's when the weather is warmer, so there's not much snow on the trails.
Mount Fuji is a mountain with lots of birds, bears, and a special animal called the Japanese sero.
Yes, Asher. Japanese sero is a very special animal that lives in Japan, and check this out. It's a goat antelope, which means it has both characteristics of a goat and an antelope. Though I've never seen one in real life, from the photos, it looks more like a goat to me.
Japanese seros are herbivores, which means they only eat plants.
Exactly. And do you also want to know what my favorite fact about Mount Fuji is?
Yes.
At the top of Mount Fuji, there is a post office you can drop off your mail to. Though it's only open in the summertime, climbers from all over the world come to drop off their postcards once they reach the top of the mountain. I wonder what it would feel like to get a postcard that was sent from the top of Mount Fuji.
Can we climb there someday?
That could be possible if we can make the trip out to Japan someday. Mount Fuji is a very tall mountain, but it only takes about 5 to 7 hours to climb. That may seem like a long time, but there are lots of other mountains around the world that can take days and sometimes weeks to climb.
Climbers like to climb in the middle of the night, so when they reach the top, they could get at the top of the mountain at sunrise.
That is true. Another reason why I would love to visit Mount Fuji is to see all the beautiful lakes surrounding the mountain. Can you imagine how spectacular it looks to have a mountain surrounded by 5 lakes? And the best part is, there are hot springs you can take a bath in. A lot of people, including myself, love taking baths in natural hot springs because it can help relax your muscles and be united back with nature. A lot of climbers like to relax in the hot springs by Mount Fuji after an intense day of climbing. Now that sounds like heaven to me.
What is a hot spring?
Good question. Hot springs are created from water heated naturally underground, usually being in close proximity to magma. Some people believe that the minerals that form in the hot springs can have healing effects, which means they believe it could cure some of their sicknesses. The Japanese call hot springs onsen. Can we try saying that, Asher?
Onsen.
Well, I don't know about you, but I suddenly have the itch to soak myself in a warm, hot bath. If only it could be outdoors and have a spectacular view of Mount Fuji. But for now, I'll have to settle for an indoor bath in our bathroom. I want to end our episode today by sharing a few jokes because telling jokes is something Asher loves to do. Asher, do you have a joke you would like to share with our listeners today?
What do you call a mountain with lots of cats on it?
What?
A meowton.
I have another good one. What do you call a mountain that likes to tell jokes? Hilarious! Well, that's all we have for today on Mount Fuji. Do you know anyone that has climbed this beautiful mountain? If so, we'd love to see some photos and hear all about it. You can email us at culturekidspodcast@gmail.com and share with us. Also, if you enjoyed our episode today, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Well, until next time, sayonara, and that's goodbye in Japanese. Can we say sayonara, Asher?